If anyone in the comments tells me that Brazil was raunchier than Mexico, we are going to have a discussion. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I'm recapping the last 2 episodes of Love is Blind Mexico. Yes, they only gave us 2 for the finale, but boy oh boy did we get plenty. I thought for Love is Blind standards, these 2 episodes were perfectly produced. I will give credit to the producers, but they were given so much to work with. They had a plate full of drama to work with. It was a feast. Let me address the elephant in the room and get it out of the way. Karen and Fernando, make up sex. Did you grab your drink or a snack? Pause this, go grab a drink, go grab a snack because you need it. So we had sexy scenes in Brazil visually, but we never got sound. So let me set up the scene for you. Fernando and Karen had a little argument still about the smoking. What did I say in my last video? Fernando, it's really hard to quit. Stop bugging her. I mean, you want to be supportive. He goes in the other room and she's like, are you going to sleep in the other room? And then he comes back and she says she's going to try to quit, but he can't blame her if she has like 1 cigarette while she's out socially. And then they have makeup sex. It's funny because during the bachelorette party in the limo, Sylvia, she said something. She said, we got to think of everything we can do while they're not here. And I bet in Karen's head, she's like, I'm gonna smoke a pack of cigarettes tonight. The beauty of it, of their makeup sex scene, is that we saw enough to let our imaginations run wild. If you had noticed on previews or coming up or the trailer, we saw that scene of someone's head, we saw pink nails, someone's head banging on the headboard of a bed. So I knew that was going to happen. I didn't know who was going to be, and that we would get sound of Karen moaning. Call me a creep or whatever, but I rewinded that little scene about 3 times. I was just like, I can't believe I just saw this. This is softcore porn. I mean, this is the land of Netflix. We get Bridgerton and stuff. For Love's Blind standards, like we've never seen something like this. We got a guy's butt shot. I can't remember who it was. Was it Willie's? But we saw a man's butt shot and I was like, oh yeah, Netflix, let's spice things up here in Mexico. Mexico put all the other seasons of Love is Blind, any franchise, to shame with just a little bit. I mean, they could have cut that out. Like producers or editors, they didn't have to put sound, they didn't have to show the hand, but like I said, just that little moment, I mean, I was like, my jaw was on the floor. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out is that when all the couples were before they walk down the aisle, they have to sign these papers. It's basically like a request to the authorities for permission to get married. And then on the bottom there's something called division of properties, and all of the couples, every single one of them, nope, let's keep things separate. See Catherine from Love is Blind UK giving Freddie a hard time about the prenup. It's smart. Division of properties. Keep things separate. Even Sylvia, she said, I know, esa casita me costado. She said, like, this house cost me a lot. No, let's keep things separate. Fernanda and Gerardo, another beautifully produced novella-style moment on Love is Blind. They have a discussion about the dogs still. As soon as they started having conflicts about the dogs, like, oh, my dog stays outside, Argo stays inside, I don't want to move to Monterrey. She really doesn't want to move to Monterrey. She wants to stay in Mexico City. I knew this relationship was doomed. I knew it. Like, dogs for people are like kids. They're like babies, and if you can't come into a common ground with your pets, no, it's not gonna work. So after the bachelor party, they go back to the apartment and they have a huge fight. It's mainly because the day before, a couple days before, she asked Gerardo if he was in love with her, and he said, no, right now I'm not. Fair enough. You can love someone but not be in love with them. But I think that only applies when you've been married for a long time, where that, you know, that fire, that passion, that in loveness kind of goes away and you basically just love and respect that person. But those two, they've been together for like a month. And also, if you're marrying someone and you're gonna walk down the aisle, you better be in love. So I agree with Fernanda when she said, if you're not in love with me, why are we in this crappy relationship? I think after bachelor and bachelor party, I think the couples should sleep separately. Like Netflix should have a woman's quarters and then a man's quarters. Like go have fun at the party, but they should not go to their apartments together. Alcohol is flowing. You get to see people from the pods that you haven't seen or that you have feelings for. Everything is like blown up. And I think if Netflix wants to see a more success rate, of a higher success rate of couples working out and getting married, they need to take steps, like safety steps. No, you two should separate after the bachelor and bachelorette party. But I mean, Netflix thrives on drama, so of course they're not gonna do that. Nothing good happens after a bachelor party. I mean, we saw so many couples have nasty fights after the parties. That fight, there was yelling, finger pointing, name calling, throwing things around, packing his stuff. She was like pointing the finger at him like this. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was watching this like this. I kid you not. I was like this looking at the TV. It was like watching a telenovela. And it only gets better. She covers the camera that's in the apartment that faces the living room. She covers it with a blanket. And I'm like, oh no, what's about to happen? I bet producers watching this are like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna send someone there? How are we gonna like, get footage from all this amazing stuff? I bet they're like in the control room. Let's move this camera until the blanket falls off. And then the blanket falls off a little bit. And once again, this was like so genius that they kept rolling. They showed us all the stuff because we only see a little bit of footage that we see the luggage on the floor and she's throwing his stuff. Our imagination went wild. It's like, what is going on here? It was so funny. The camera's like, I was watching. On a serious note, what was not amazing was grabbing people's belongings and tossing them around. I don't like that. You're in your mid-30s, maybe late 30s. Don't do that. I think it triggers me because my parents, I've seen them do that. And also I've been in a relationship where we're parting ways and I was the one leaving. And I was like, I need to pack my stuff. And he's like, I'm going to pack your stuff, grab your clothes, put in the luggage and put in storage. I was like, no. You're not touching my stuff. You're not touching my clothes. This is what's going to happen. You're going away for like an hour and a half. I'm going to stay here, pack all my stuff, and I'll take it to storage. And think of it, if the roles were reversed, like the genders were reversed, instead of being Fernanda grabbing all his stuff and tossing around. And Gerardo, poor guy, he was doing this. He was like, I give him props for being so calm. Imagine if it was him. If it was a man doing that to a woman, grabbing all her belongings and tossing it around, that man would be so canceled, he would never find a job in his life. We would call him abusive, an asshole. So I did not like the way Fernanda was behaving. You know who I felt the worst for? Argos, the dog. Poor dog having to witness all that mess. And dogs sense it. They do sense it. They sense when you're sad, when you're angry, when there's chaos around. And poor dog, he was just like standing there watching his mom act all crazy. Because I remember my dog, my childhood dog, after my dad passed away, I came back from the funeral by myself. I went home and I was crying and I was laying on the floor crying. And he laid on the floor next to me. So dogs can sense that. Poor Argos, he was like, Mom, I did sign up for the show. What is this? I want to go back to the shelter. No, I'm kidding. Another top-notch producing moment was when Fernanda is at the confessional, when they're giving their interviews by themselves. And then a producer gets up and tells her, and this is after they broke up, saying that Gerardo is outside. He would like to talk to you. Is that okay if he comes in? And she's like, yeah. And then they have this really sweet heart-to-heart conversation. He even kisses her forehead and says like, I'll always be there for you. And she's like, good luck to you. And they said something besides, I love you too. They said that we should have communicated better. And in my head, this is where therapy would have come in handy. Why doesn't Netflix, once again, if they want a better success rate for the show, why not have couples therapy? When they go live together and they start having, real world arguments, why not insert a little couples therapy? That could have saved Fernanda and Gerardo's relationship. Who knows? And why I love that moment so much, and what I thought was like brilliant producing, I love pulling back the curtains. I love breaking the fourth wall. Something different that they did as far as editing from the other countries was cutting from wedding to wedding. And I thought that was genius too, because I think it was Karen, she's saying her vows to Fernando, and then she says, I do, and he was about to say something. They cut, and then they went to someone else's wedding. And I was like, what just happened? It was almost like you're watching a novella and there's like a little like cliffhanger, or someone is having a confrontation and then boom, stops, commercial break. I was like, why commercials? No, not commercials right now. We don't have commercials on Love is Blind, but the cutting that they did, it kept us in the edge of our seats. It was like they were following the recipe of a telenovela. So Irais and Renee, who knew this two will be the least problematic couple leading up to the altar? Even his wicked sisters showed up, and they went first, which I thought was odd, because usually the couple that goes first, that gets married first, is the golden couple. It's the couple that we all know it's going to say yes, but they put Irais and Renee first, and I was so shocked that he's the one that said no. Talk about a twist. Afterwards, we see them holding hands together, and he said, maybe we can go on our own pace. And I can't remember if she agreed or not. Do you guys remember? Let me know in the comments below. But I don't think she wants that. I don't think they're together right now. I doubt it at the reunion if they'll be together. So let's talk about Chema and Sylvia. Chema, by the way, was so funny at the bachelor party. He was so drunk that he was slurring his words. Did anyone notice when he was talking to Coletti? Yo tengo que decir que yo quiero hasta más. Tú también, yo quiero. And I was like, Chema, go grab some water, man. But at least their bachelor and bachelorette party was a lot more exciting than the US versions. Remember the one in Charlotte where it's basically just Clayton and Johnny, and they went to this barn. It was like the most boring bachelor party ever. At least in Mexico they got down. So Sylvia and Chema, when the officiator is asking them the I do, I don't, they run away. Cameras is trying to like follow them, and then they're like cheering, we did it, we did it. I'm like, you did what? What is going on here? What you did what? Did you get married or not? And then they're saying that they want to live their lives on their own terms, and they'll live their lives forever, breaking the rules. Then Chema said that we are going to keep dating, which means we're going to break up in 2 months. I will bet right now, if anyone wants to send me their Venmo, I'll send you my Venmo. I'll put money that they're not together by the reunion. I will eat crow again if they're together. One thing that I loved about her vows is when she said, te quiero un día cada vez, which means I will love you one day at a time. I thought that was so sweet, isn't it? I will love you one day at a time. Aw, because relationships are like that. You gotta take one day at a time. But I'm still mad at them. It doesn't happen often, and on top of my head, I can only think of this happening twice. When the couple pulls this off, like this little plan thing between them, like, oh, let's plan, this thing at the altar. We like, they already know what they're going to say. It makes a mockery out of the show, and it makes a mockery out of me, out of a viewer. It happened in Brazil last season with Marília and Patrick. They went, family, friends, went to the altar, and they're like holding hands. Do you say I do? Do you say I don't? They're like, not yet. Not yet? What is this? Why you dragged all your family and friends? Why you went wedding dress shopping if you already had this little plan between the two of you to say, not yet? And what did I tell you? By reunion, they said they were going to keep dating, like Chema said. By reunion time, they were not. Netflix needs to lay down the law. Look, if you don't have a definite answer, you're not going wedding dress shopping, you're not having a party after the wedding. What happened to all the catering people? You know, the bartenders, the servers, they're like sitting there waiting to see if there's going to be a party or not. So Francesca and Willie, what did I tell you in my last video? He is not ready for marriage. They had a fight too. After the bachelor party in their apartment, he's saying that they're not compatible. I don't blame him for saying that they're not compatible. I get it hurts. If you love someone so much and you want to make this relationship work, as Francesca was trying to, and that person says that you're not compatible, yeah, it hurts, but it's not an insult. And then the yelling starts. And I was thinking, is this happening at the same time as Fernando and Gerardo are having their World War III next door? Because if I lived in that building on that floor, I will call my landlord ASAP, send the cops here. Don't ever let Netflix rent one unit in this building. They must have got so many complaints from neighbors. Like, there's gotta be neighbors in that building. I don't think Netflix rents the whole building. And then at the wedding day, Fran says, she's talking to the camera and she says, "Estoy plena, estoy muy feliz con mis votos." So she said that she feels fulfilled and she's very happy with her vows. I knew it. I knew it right then and there. Nope, not a good sign. Not a good sign. She gave like this beautiful speech about wings and flying and being a strong woman. Last but not least, our golden couple. I know they might not be the golden couple for some people out there, but they are to me. Karen and Fernando. You can say whatever you want about her, but I do think she's a good mom. Everything that she said, like outside of the pods, everything that she said in the show, she put her daughter as her priority. It was always about her daughter. She even said to Fernando's mom, to her face, when his mom asked her, "So what happens if Amy and Fernando don't get along?" Karen said, "I'm going to have to walk away. It's not going to work." Like, Amy was always her priority. You know what's interesting about Karen? Because I went to check her Instagram just to look for little clues here and there to see if her and Fernando are still together. And she only has, last time I checked, 33.5 thousand followers. For someone that comes out of Love is Blind, that's particularly low. Usually when you go Love is Blind, your followers grow substantially. I remember when Jessica was a Love is Blind and I went on her Instagram, she had like a few thousand. And then I looked during the show, or like getting closer to the end of the show, she busted to like 100K. Usually when people get out of Netflix, like they'll get at least 100K followers. And I think with Karen is that she rubbed people the wrong way by being so sexually open and talking about her sexual preferences. You know, a lot of people are very prudish out there and they don't like to see a mother saying that stuff on camera. But in the pods, you have to be as open as possible to your future husband. So I don't blame her for, you know, laying out all of that. It's not her fault that Netflix put it on the show. They could have taken it out. So what's the difference between Karen and Jessica? Because Jessica grew substantially and Karen didn't, and they're both moms. I think it's because Karen was sexually open and said some things on camera, and Jessica had that very well rehearsed speech comeback to Jimmy. A lot of people out there don't like when they hear people talking about threesomes, choking, swinging. It rubs people the wrong way, but in this channel, I do not kink shame. Another thing is that she had sex on camera, but is that her fault? No, Netflix could have added that out, but they decided not to. So I don't blame her for that. She's in her apartment with her future husband, and people might say, oh, her daughter might see this one day. Her daughter's gonna watch her mom have sex on camera. If she's a responsible mom, she's not gonna let Amy watch Love is Blind until she's like past 18, if she wants to see how mommy and daddy met, or stepdad. I think Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, they always said, you know, when people ask, are you gonna let the kids watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith? And she's like, yeah, because I think it will be really lovely for them to see how their parents met. You're going to tell me that it's awful parenting to have sex on camera because her daughter might see it one day. So any actresses out there are not supposed to do movies with sex scenes because they have kids. I just saw an interview, can't remember the actress, that they were asking if she, maybe it was Blake Lively, if she would let her kids watch her movies or Ryan Reynolds movie. And she's like, well, maybe not Savage, maybe not The Town, but yeah, they can watch Pikachu. It's up to the parent to decide what movies or what kind of TV their kids watch. I'm really happy for Karen and Fernando. I really hope they're still together. We'll see at the reunion. Also, Fernando and his vows. Ay, Dios mío, Fernando. I usually don't cry at stuff like that on shows like this, but I got tear-eye. The way he included Amy, gave her a bracelet, and said that the most important women here, it's you. Or she said like the second most important women, it's you. And then the little girl crying when she was sitting down, my heart like grabbed the tissues. So novella-like, you get all the drama and then you got this happy ending. It was beautiful. Let me know in the comments down below, who do you think are still together? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of Mexico overall? If you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell, the notification button so you don't miss any future videos. And I'll see you next time.